Tell her keep doing what she's doing. Tell her I love her and miss her so much. I'm going to eat her like some ice cream when I touch her.
YNW Melly has been held for nearly 7 years waiting for his case to move forward. During that time, investigators claim he quietly ran a whole behind-the-scenes operation from inside, slipping notes under doors, setting up three-way calls, and allegedly trying to keep key witnesses from showing up in court. Now here's where things get serious. Newly leaked footage could change everything.
Interesting to see in trial. I don't know why this trial is happening out of nowhere. I find it bizarre that they're doing this now. In Florida, witness tampering in a capital case like Melly allegedly did, he can get sentenced up to 30 years in prison. Yes, you heard me correctly.
Not because of the main case people keep talking about, but because of a separate witness interference case. While attention stays on leaked interviews and old evidence, prosecutors are pushing forward with another trial that could stack up to 30 extra years onto his sentence before the main case even restarts, all tied to claims of witness interference in a high-level case. This isn't a side detail either. These charges came from investigations carried out while Melly was still waiting on his first court date.
Demmons is speaking to an inmate from his cell that was in the day room for his timeout. During the conversation, you can notice Demmons motion towards the adjacent unit, which is Unit 5C3. The inmate who he's speaking to then points towards the same unit to confirm what Demmons was referring to. Demmons tosses what appears to be a note letter under his door.
And the witness interference trial is officially set for January 21st, 2026. What authorities describe sounds straight out of a crime drama, with secret note exchanges, coded calls, and a complex communication web stretching across multiple jail units. To be clear, Melly didn't even have phone access at the time.
This call, while Mathis is trying to give directions to Courtland Henry about keeping Mariah away from court, Henry's obviously uncomfortable and does not want these directions being given over the recorded call. Henry knows his job of keeping her away from court, and there's no reason to continue to talk about it.
His calling privileges were taken away after earlier rule violations inside the facility, cutting him off from direct contact with the outside world. According to investigators, that didn't stop the communication. They claim he set up a workaround system using other people, including Courtland Henry, who was free on bond then, and his ex, Mariah Hamilton. The central figure in this alleged setup was an inmate named James Howard, and investigators say he unknowingly became the spark that exposed everything.
This conversation was identified as subjects conspiring and planning on how they would smuggle narcotics into the Broward County Jail. Common method of narcotics in the jail is a person by sending paper that has been soaked or sprayed with the narcotics that have liquid form. These f***ing tweakers, bro. And then September 23, so right after the first trial, they interviewed a gang member being housed in the Broward County Jail.
According to official documents filed in Broward County, authorities were already listening to Howard's jail calls as part of routine monitoring linked to his own unrelated legal situation. During those standard checks, something unexpected popped up. Investigators say they began hearing conversations suggesting Howard was acting as a middleman, communicating with Melly and passing messages to people outside the facility, which immediately raised red flags. That discovery pushed officials to dig deeper. What started as basic monitoring reportedly turned into a month-long investigation, uncovering a wider communication network involving multiple inmates, note exchanges under cell doors, message relays, and outside calls allegedly made on Melly's behalf. Surveillance footage from August 21st, 2023 reportedly captured the process in striking detail.
In the first trial, remember it was one juror that convinced two other people to come to her side, so it was 9-3. 9 people to convict Melly, 3 didn't want to convict him. There's rumors that that juror was paid off, but obviously there's not really any evidence of it, I guess.
Cameras show Melly writing notes and sliding them under his cell door during limited day room access, while another inmate from a nearby unit retrieved them by nudging them across the floor. From there, the notes allegedly traveled through several hands. Investigators say the messages moved down to a lower level, passed through common areas, and eventually reached James Howard, all while being recorded by jail cameras. Mathis was also waiting on his own serious court case at the time, but unlike Melly, he still had regular phone access, and that made him a key link in this situation.
The present case is subject to widespread media attention across the United States and international. Defense previous trial was live streamed across several traditional and non-traditional media forms. This court notes every hearing conducted by this court involving the defendant and co-defendant Courtland Henry has been live streamed.
Between March 2023 and August 2023, Mathis placed more than 60 calls to Courtland Henry and others, right during the period when Melly's first major trial was happening, a moment when message coordination would have mattered most. When investigators later searched Mathis's cell, they say they uncovered even more red flags. Authorities found phone books filled with coded language and fake names, all allegedly designed to keep the communication system hidden from officials. Names like Old Girl, Melly Bro, C, and Bort were written next to phone numbers, forming what investigators describe as a simple but effective code system. The recorded calls between Mathis and Cortland Henry are described as especially detailed. In one exchange, Mathis is heard passing along messages from Melly to Henry about keeping Mariah Hamilton away from upcoming court appearances where she could be required to speak. Henry responds on the recorded call saying, "Man, no man. Tell him, man, shut the expletive up. Time to stop talking about that." And later adds, "We already vibing in the Maybach. I don't know where he getting his information, but tell him to vibe though." Investigators say this was Henry signaling that everything was being handled. According to analysts reviewing the calls, the use of nicknames like Weary and coded references like Maybach shows how carefully the group tried to hide what they were discussing. Henry's tone also suggests he knew the calls might be monitored, yet the communication allegedly continued anyway. In the immediate aftermath of the incident in question, attention quickly turned to Mariah Hamilton and what she may have known. For years, Hamilton reportedly stayed out of reach, declining interviews, avoiding depositions, and never taking the stand during the first trial, even though her mother did appear as a witness. If Hamilton were to cooperate now, prosecutors believe she could potentially share details about what Melly told her that night, information that could seriously weaken his defense and shift the direction of the case. But the alleged interference didn't stop there. Investigators claim efforts to limit cooperation also involve Melly's own mother, Jamie King. According to official paperwork, messages were sent advising her not to work with authorities regarding alleged intimidation, concerns she had previously raised with defense attorneys and Judge Murphy during pre-trial hearings. After that, Ms. King reportedly chose not to continue participating in follow-up inquiries related to those concerns. Authorities say this recurring pattern, where potential witnesses either pull back or vanish from proceedings, forms the backbone of the witness interference accusations, but the situation reportedly goes even further. Investigators also allege that Melly played a role in organizing and managing the flow of prohibited substances inside Broward County Jail. During interviews, an inmate described a system involving altered paper materials infused with illegal substances, which were then shared among individuals inside the facility. The same inmate claimed he personally obtained these materials multiple times and stated that access was limited to individuals housed on Melly's floor. Even more concerning to officials, investigators allege the materials were brought in through paperwork labeled as legal documents, exploiting protected communication channels to bypass standard security checks. Terrence Mathis and Cortland Henry have already received prison sentences for their roles in the witness interference situation, officially removing them as co-defendants going into the January trial. In September 2025, Henry entered a no-contest plea related to multiple charges connected to post-incident actions, interference with court processes, coordinated planning, and group-related activity. As part of that agreement, Henry received a 16-year and 3-month sentence, with credit for time already served. After being taken into custody back in 2019, he officially entered the Florida prison system in early October 2025. Mathis also accepted a plea deal tied to his role in the communication setup, resolving his legal situation in exchange for a fixed sentence. That leaves Melly standing alone as the only person facing the witness interference charges in January. Even so, prosecutors are expected to present recorded phone calls and jail surveillance footage as evidence, regardless of whether Henry or Mathis actually take the stand. But the ripple effects don't stop there. With Henry now formally convicted and serving time, he becomes a possible witness in the separate retrial scheduled for 2027. As someone who already admitted involvement after the incident, his testimony could carry serious weight if he chooses to cooperate, or he could stay silent and force prosecutors to rely entirely on recordings and documented evidence. Either way, the strategy on both sides has completely shifted. The path toward 2027 looks very different now, especially for Melly. The retrial that was originally expected in September 2025 has been delayed until at least January 2027, extending Melly's already long wait in custody by another full year. Melly has now been held for more than 2,500 days without a conviction, and that number alone has become a major talking point. His defense team pushed hard for release motions, but those requests were denied in May 2025, with the judge pointing to flight risk concerns and the seriousness of the allegations in rejecting bond. Then came another major legal twist. In October 2025, Florida's 4th District Court of Appeal backed Judge John J. Murphy's decision to block weeks of digital material collected under a broad search order. That ruling excluded messages, emails, and social media data from before October 26, 2018, limiting what prosecutors can actually use. The defense argued that the search went way too far and crossed constitutional lines, but the appellate court disagreed. Judges ruled there was no misuse of discretion and allowed prosecutors to rely only on later data, like location records and messages connected to Cortland Henry. There's still more uncertainty hanging over the case. A separate video from Melly's official YouTube channel remains under review for possible use in court, and until that decision is made, parts of the discovery process are essentially frozen. To understand how things got this complicated, you have to look back at the 2023 trial. That courtroom battle stretched from June through July 2023 and ended without a final verdict after jurors couldn't agree on a single outcome. 9 jurors leaned toward a lesser charge related to responsibility, while 3 refused to go along with the most severe allegations prosecutors were pushing. After more than 2 days of intense deliberations, Judge Murphy officially halted the trial due to the deadlock. Juror number 7 later came forward anonymously and spoke to media outlets about her time on the jury, and her comments instantly stirred up chaos. She said she voted not guilty because she believed Melly was being set up, pointing to what she felt was weak circumstantial evidence and bias tied to the prosecution's group-related claims. Her statement lit a fire online and off. Supporters grabbed onto her doubts as proof the case wasn't solid, while critics fired back, questioning whether outside pressure or public noise played a role in shaping her view during the trial. The entire situation pulled massive attention. Courtroom reporters live posted updates nonstop, while crowds of supporters gathered outside the courthouse, sometimes reaching into the hundreds. Rapper Boosie Badazz even showed up for opening statements, rocking a bright orange coat that cameras couldn't ignore, signaling just how invested the hip-hop world was in the outcome. Now all eyes are on the upcoming witness interference trial set for January 2026. This phase will test whether prosecutors can prove the alleged jail communication network beyond reasonable doubt, using surveillance footage and recorded calls as their backbone. Because of the non-stop attention, Judge Fine ordered special, high-profile jury selection rules. The court acknowledged that this case has been broadcast everywhere, from major news networks to YouTube channels and social media feeds across the globe. Officials confirmed that every hearing involving Melly and Henry has been live-streamed or heavily covered, creating serious concerns about finding unbiased jurors. To address that, the court approved a massive jury pool of 250 people, with 60 ultimately selected based on availability for the expected trial length. Due to the intense media saturation, the courtroom itself will be closed to the public during jury selection. In a rare move, the Broward County Clerk of Court will permanently seal all juror identities, including the foreperson, and remove their names from public records entirely. Because of serious security concerns, Courtroom 4780 has gone into full lockdown mode for this trial. All phones and electronic devices are completely banned, a direct response to the chaos and control issues that surfaced during the first trial. Court officials say these strict rules are meant to prevent jury pressure, outside influence, or any behind-the-scenes interference. As for Melly himself, he continues to say he's innocent, and that message hasn't changed. Through family statements and posts shared on his verified social media accounts, Melly has consistently pushed a calm, confident tone. Archived court footage from 2023 shows him smiling, waving in court, and sharing captions like, "I'm smiling because God is with me," keeping up a strong public image. His family still posts faith-based messages and regular updates about his condition and custody status. Despite online rumors, searches claiming Melly apologized in court turn up nothing credible as of December 2025. No reporters or courtroom observers have documented any public apology or statement of regret during recent hearings. In late 2025, Melly was moved to a higher security facility for the first time in 5 years. Officials say the transfer to Paul Ryan Detention Center was made due to safety concerns and his extremely high profile, especially after investigators uncovered alleged communication systems during the witness interference probe. He remains there now, facing the most serious possible legal outcome under Florida law, where juries don't need full agreement to impose the maximum sentence. Prosecutors only need a majority decision, which adds even more pressure to an already intense situation. Between leaked footage, claims of witness interference, and trial delays stretching across 7 years, this case has turned into a non-stop legal storm. Online debate is louder than ever. Some posts show throwback clips of Melly performing Mind of Melvin, pulling in thousands of likes, while others break down evidence frame by frame and debate alternate theories about what really happened that night. First, the hashtag #FreeMelly still pops up every time something new drops, but the mood online has clearly shifted. The leaks from December 2025 flipped the energy hard, fueling backlash from people who see the self-recorded phone video as a moment that looks way too close for comfort. Cortland Henry's plea deal has only added more heat. A lot of people now wonder whether he could eventually speak against Melly in future court proceedings, and that possibility alone has the internet buzzing nonstop. At the same time, Melly's defense team sees it differently. They argue the deal could actually weaken the state's case by removing someone who would have had to answer tough questions about his own role under cross-examination. Public records still don't clearly show whether Henry received any guarantees tied to testimony, but prosecutors continue to claim he was directly involved in staging events after the incident. With his deal finalized, Henry no longer faces uncertainty about his own legal future, but it also opens the door for him to potentially cooperate if called in 2027. Whether he speaks or stays quiet could completely change the dynamic of the retrial. Before that even happens, the next big moment is the witness interference trial in January 2026. If Melly is found responsible on all counts there, he could face up to 30 additional years in custody on top of whatever happens later. The clock is ticking fast. The discovery deadline is January 9th, 2026, just 12 days before the trial begins, forcing both sides to lock in evidence and witness lists under serious pressure. The court made it clear this time there will be no last-minute chaos or surprise filings. Judge Fine has taken a firm, no-excuses approach to managing this case, a sharp contrast to the looser style seen during earlier proceedings. Both prosecution and defense are now racing to finalize their moves. At its core, this case sits at the messy crossroads of artistic expression and real-life consequences. Lyrics that once shocked listeners with dark, extreme storytelling are now being compared to real-world events, and that overlap has kept this story boiling for years. Melly has publicly referred to those involved as his brothers and closest friends, while new footage continues leaking from unknown sources, keeping emotions high and opinions divided. At the same time, court proceedings keep getting pushed back due to non-stop legal moves, dragging everything out even longer. What truly happened on October 26, 2018 is still hotly disputed. Fans refuse to abandon the hashtag #FreeMelly movement, while prosecutors insist that digital records, location data, and recorded messages tell a clear story. The clips keep circulating, the hashtags keep trending, and the online arguments never slow down. Eventually, though, answers won't come from social media. They'll come inside a Florida courtroom where 12 jurors will decide Melly's future based on the evidence presented and the law. That moment, whenever it finally arrives, will end years of speculation. Jase, professionally known as YNW Melly, has now spent more than 2,500 days in a Florida detention center without a conviction. That's nearly 7 years of his life waiting for a final outcome in a case he continues to say he had no role in. The young rapper faces two of the most serious charges under Florida law, tied to the events of October 26, 2018, involving two members of the YNW collective, Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. Authorities in Broward County claim the incident unfolded inside a vehicle in Miramar, Florida, followed by an alleged attempt to mislead investigators afterward. What really reignited the fire was a fresh wave of online leaks in late November and early December 2025. a flood of videos suddenly appeared across the internet, claiming to show new material connected to the case. None of it came from the court, prosecutors, or defense teams. Instead, these clips are described as alleged leaks tied to associates, interviews, and unnamed sources, spreading fast across YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, and multiple hip-hop news platforms. These videos revisit the 2018 events with heavy speculation layered on top, pushing online theories that internal conflict within the YNW group played a role. As expected, that narrative sent social media into overdrive, with opinions flying in every direction. The most controversial clip is a short video said to come from Melly's own phone, recorded on November 26, 2018, exactly 1 month after the incident involving his two close friends. In the video, Melly appears alone in a dim room, looks into the camera, and makes statements that many viewers interpret as extremely troubling, followed by exaggerated gestures and laughter that sparked immediate backlash. The casual tone of that recording, made just weeks after the events, has stuck with this case for years. The clip first surfaced online back in 2021, showed up again during discussions surrounding the 2023 trial, and has now resurfaced with renewed force as part of the December 2025 leak wave. Alongside the video, screenshots of alleged Snapchat messages have also been circulating. These messages are said to show Melly speaking highly of Cortland Henry, crediting him with loyalty and protection during a tense period. The authenticity of these messages continues to be debated, but their spread has only intensified public reaction. Prosecutors argue these messages point to Henry taking the victims to the hospital alone as part of a staged story meant to mislead investigators. The defense pushes back hard, saying the messages were taken out of context and simply show loyalty between close friends, but prosecutors see them as signs of a coordinated effort to control the narrative. The leaked material itself, roughly 10 to 15 minutes of fragmented clips spread across platforms, doesn't show any direct footage of the incident itself. There's no explicit video capturing the moment everything happened, and no visual content depicting the act in question. What these leaks do show instead is personal tension, emotional reactions, and recordings that prosecutors claim sound like self-incriminating statements that clash with Melly's public claims of innocence. In just 2 weeks, these clips racked up more than 2 million views across X and YouTube. The attention is split right down the middle, driven by hashtags like #FreeMelly from supporters and #MellyGuilty from critics who say the material speaks for itself. At the center of the December 2025 leak wave is resurfaced interview footage involving Jacoby Mills, an associate questioned shortly after the October 2018 incident. The video shows Mills speaking with investigators in what appears to be a standard interview room, where he describes long-standing tension within the YNW group that existed well before that night. In key audio moments, Mills talks about a heated physical confrontation that reportedly happened 2 days earlier, claiming it left visible damage and bad blood between people who were once close. Investigators say this detail supports the idea that serious conflict had been building behind the scenes. Mills also claims Melly's emotional reaction afterward didn't seem genuine, saying there were no visible signs of grief when the group later came together. He alleges Melly focused more on studio work with Louisiana rapper Fredo Bang instead of reacting the way he expected someone in that situation would. Mills suggests this behavior points toward an internal conflict rather than outside involvement, arguing that if external rivals were responsible, the response would have looked very different. One especially controversial clip even shows Mills attempting to redirect attention by mentioning NBA YoungBoy, a claim that immediately sparked backlash and debate online. One of the most talked about moments centers on a question aimed at NBA YoungBoy, asking how he seemed to know so much about the situation. Some online voices took that as a hint that he was speaking with unusual confidence, which immediately sent speculation spiraling across social media. On December 3rd, 2025, a viral X thread from an account called Odd Gang Hits pulled in nearly 88,000 views. The post shared 4 images claimed to be court-related paperwork, along with a short video that was quickly downloaded, reposted, and spread across multiple platforms. According to the thread, an unnamed source allegedly confirms Melly's involvement using coded nicknames tied to individuals connected to the case. The post flips earlier online theories, suggesting the individuals involved didn't expect what happened and believed it might have been caused by outside rivals, tying into separate underground theories involving different rap-affiliated groups. That said, the reliability of these leaks is all over the place. Some fall into a gray area, while others lean heavily into speculation. The resurfaced interview footage featuring Jacoby Mills is heavily edited, low quality, and layered with dramatic visuals and background music, matching clips that already circulated between 2019 and 2023 during earlier proceedings. No original time-stamped law enforcement files have been released to independently verify the authenticity of these materials. The paperwork claiming to show informant confirmation looks convincing on the surface due to its formatting and legal tone, but it remains unverified and may simply be recycled from older public records already discussed years ago. Social media posts continue amplifying these claims without linking to original sources, while commentary-driven YouTube channels add their own dramatic takes, further blurring the line between verified information and theory. Phone data places Melly at the location during the same window when the incident occurred. Authorities say Henry later drove the individuals to Memorial Hospital Miramar, claiming they had been attacked by unknown people during a roadside incident. But medical staff and investigators quickly questioned that explanation. Those technical findings, presented through expert testimony during the 2023 trial, remain unchanged and were not altered by any of the recent leaks. What the December 2025 leaks really add is emotional context and alleged self-incriminating statements, not new physical proof. No fresh forensic material has surfaced that wasn't already shown to jurors. Still, the public reaction has been sharply divided, exactly as you'd expect. Supporters point to inconsistencies in the prosecution's timeline and emphasize that some evidence was excluded due to court rulings. They highlight the fact that 9 jurors in 2023 did not agree on the most serious charges after weeks of testimony, arguing that this shows real doubt even among people who heard everything firsthand. They also mention the lack of direct eyewitnesses, the missing object allegedly used in the incident, and claims that both individuals involved were prepared that night, suggesting the situation wasn't as simple as it's often presented. On the other side, critics focus on the phone video recorded 1 month later, the private messages praising Henry for loyalty, and the forensic findings indicating the source was inside the vehicle. Taken together, they argue this combination leaves little room for alternate explanations. The resurfaced Mills interview has only deepened that divide. Supporters say Mills was under pressure and had personal motives, while critics argue his statements line up closely with the technical evidence already on record. And that's where things stand right now. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who are following this case. Check out the other videos on screen, and I'll see you in the next one.